Cardiovascular disease is #1 killer disease in the world, whether this country is a developed or underdeveloped or poor country. That means it requires a new attention how to really tackle this cardiovascular disease. And it seems like that the #1 single risk factor is not enough. As we know from Birmingham studies, that hypercholesterolemia is not the really risk factor. A lot of people having cardiovascular disease, or even with a similar amount of cholesterol in their blood with normal people. So that means there is something there. And we now know that the development of the disease is a lifelong process like cardiovascular disease, and it requires new kind of pre-diagnostic markers. And it seems like that before people develop this disease marker, there could be intervention possible at the very beginning, and this could be possible by nutritional way, and cardiovascular disease is one of them. In normal situation, platelet roam around in the vascular bed and look for any discontinuity in the blood vessel. And if it sees it, then it will aggregate there, as it happens in vessel injury. But under a different condition like obesity, diabetes, and hypertension, and smoking, and having bad diet, that all contribute the hyperactivity of platelet. That means the hyperactivity platelet means they secrete some of the compounds and they interact with the vessel wall and produce atherosclerotic plaque. That means those people with that sort of pathological situation will produce plaque because of platelet hyperactivity. Aspirin is used as a gold standard to stop the platelet aggregation, but aspirin has a lot of side effects that actually destroy the lining of the intestine and can produce ulcer. And in addition to that, it cannot inhibit thrombin-induced platelet aggregation, which happens when there is a plaque breakdown. Plus, 30% of the people are aspirin resistant. Under these conditions, aspirin is not recommended to use as a primary prevention. Millions of people, those who are not having a cardiovascular disease, but they are developing plaque formation because of hyperactive platelets in a condition like diabetes, obesity, insulin resistance, smokers, people who smokes, and sedentary lifestyle. So we are looking something which is available in nature and having less side effect and reversible action. And we got the idea from epidemiological studies. Those who are consuming fruits and vegetables, they have a much lower incidence of CVD. That means the fruits and vegetables must contain something which actually protecting cardiovascular system, probably by inhibiting platelet activation. So what we did actually, we got a lot of fruits and vegetables in the laboratory and made a juice out of it. And then we saw that only the tomato extract, which inhibit platelet aggregation almost 70 to 90%, compared with other fruits and vegetables. So that shows clearly some of the anti-platelet factors that present in tomato, which actually inhibit platelet aggregation. And later we found these compounds are present only in the yellow fluid around the seed in the tomato, not in the skin, which has mostly lycopene. So we actually isolated and characterized those compounds. These are water soluble, molecular weight less than 1,000, and this is the one which contain mostly antiplatelet factors, and there is no lycopene in there. European Food Standard Agency actually regulates the food claim of any food that is marketed in European Union, and we are lucky to say that the tomato extract, because of its intensive research and documentation and publication, it has been first product in European Union that got approval from EFSA out of several hundreds of applications. And this tomato extract now can be labeled as it maintains normal platelet aggregation, which contribute to healthy blood flow. And in addition to EFSA approval, it also got approval from America as a gross, generally recommended as a safe food. Nitric oxide is another important molecule. It protects our cardiovascular system and prevent cardiovascular disease because it actually has vasorelaxation properties, and also it inhibits platelet aggregation, and thus it increase the blood flow in every organ of the body, and so is important. So the important precursor from nitric oxide is L-arginine, which when it is taken as a supplementation can produce nitric oxide and does this work. So with the combination of tomato extract and L-arginine, that gives us a very good resonance in terms of protecting the cardiovascular system by preventing 3 limbs of the cardiovascular disease, that's the platelet activation or aggregation, by relaxation of the vessel wall, and by improving the blood flow. This combination could be a number 1 protective agent against the cardiovascular disease. LIVEXTRA Young is a scientifically proven supplement which will prevent the occurrence of cardiovascular disease in later life if it is taken daily. It contains scientifically proven EFSA approved tomato extract and Nobel Prize work with L-arginine, which produce nitric oxide. Combination of these two actually prevent any cardiovascular disease by preventing platelet activation and by preventing plaque formation, and it allows the blood flow around the organ so people will not develop cardiovascular disease in later life.